What's up, y'all? I am Tarah M. Williams. Welcome to another episode of the Tea Time with Tarah show, where you have a voice and it needs to be heard. Tea Time with Tarah is business and Bible basics. Again, I am Tarah M. Williams, your life coach, chaos coordinator, and published author. On today's show, we're going to be talking about balance with my guest, Torrie Danielle. So I'm going to read to you guys the chapter of balance in my book, ABCs to Stalk Your Destiny. You can find this book at the link below or at Amazon.com if you look up Tarah, Tarah M. Williams. I did not have the page mark, so bear with me. Balance. Often, when I connect with people on a mission to find purpose in their life, they are those persons who wear many hats. I can place myself as an example here. I am a mother of 3 who are currently, when this book was written, ages 5, 4, and 3. I was a wife, and now I am a divorced woman. I operate a household full time. I run a growing ministry. I write books and create products. I am a coach and community advocate for networking and making real life meaningful connections. I am a woman. Outside of all that I just listed, I must battle for balance on the inside. If I can't win there, I am no good or help to anyone else. Balance in business and personal life is key to smooth operations of day-to-day tasks. If someone's personal life is in pieces, it tends to spill over into their business work. Likewise, if someone focuses more on one area than the other and do not balance the two out as needed, this could create major setbacks. Recognizing what the priorities are and balancing time between them all is a key factor in stalking your destiny and gaining success. I constantly must choose where I give my time on a weekly basis. While I could plan my entire month ahead, my reality is that I meet with clients on a week-to-week basis. My kids also have different demands, and so does their nanny. Having to work around everyone's schedule makes it more pertinent that I maintain flexibility and balance. Another key factor in finding balance is in our belief systems. Believe in something or fall for anything. We must know what our moral stance is on certain topics. As success seekers, many opportunities, good and bad, will come our way. We must be able to make decisions for ourselves and our futures based on what we believe. I have yet to hear of someone who made a good decision while wavering in their beliefs. Balance is what allows us to stay cool in certain overwhelming situations. It creates the space for us to handle difficult situations with ease. Balance is an ABC to stalk your destiny because without it, it is easy to lose sight of what is important. It is helpful to the end goals and beneficial to overall better health and better living. So one of the questions here for an icebreaker for you all that you can comment below is, how many hats are you wearing? And how can they better complement one another? Again, our guest for today is Torrie Danielle, and she's going to tell us why balance is necessary on her journey to stalking her destiny. Put things in their proper place. And when you put things in their proper place, then you're able to see how much more time you have to focus on other things. And if your professional life, if your business life, if you're trying to make a life for yourself, if those things are not in order, then stop rushing to the comfort of a dependent person. Stop rushing to lean on someone else if you are not taking care of your own situation, your own life. And that's a really, really big distraction because we all want and need the social connection in terms of another person, in terms of love and endearment, those types of things, companionship. We need those things, but put them in proper place. And there's a saying, I think I've said it before, do what you have to do so that you can do what you want to do. Hey, Torrie, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. So, if you like, you can let our audience know a little bit about you,
Okay.
and then we'll go into why balance is something you need on your journey to stalk your destiny.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. My name is Torrie Danielle. I am a model, chef, mental health advocate. I also wear a lot of hats like you.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here today. I really
Thank
am.
you. Thank you for being
And
here.
balance. When I read your book and you told me to choose a word, it was so hard because it was so many words that I could relate to.
Okay.
But balance stuck out to me because wearing so many hats and trying to be successful while doing that can be very hectic. So finding
Yeah.
that balance within yourself and within your personal life and within your business is very important. Very important.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about how you balance because, like you said, you model, you advocate for mental health, and you have your catering and something else too, right? Is it more than that? Just those three?
I'm working on a few things, but we're not gonna tell
Okay.
you yet.
So, okay, but still even more,
Yeah.
even more. And so let us know a little bit about like how did you get to the point where you had to juggle all of those things? Like if they
Whew.
want to know who is Torrie Danielle, like
So, I don't even know where to start. Yeah, I don't know where to start. Let's start with how I balance.
okay.
With balance, I have a calendar where I try to put everything on paper and set alarms. That's
Yeah.
my first step to balancing out everything. Because my schedule can be so hectic from fashion shows to catering events, to just being a listening ear for people dealing with mental issues.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't even I don't even know where to start, but definitely a calendar, a planner, getting everything that I have according to that month that I have to do, getting all of that put on paper, getting my alarm set, um, and really just taking time for myself. So yoga, meditation, keeping that balance within myself first before committing to the business
Okay.
aspect of everything.
Got you. Yeah, I know with me, well, when that book was written, I mean, my kids were much younger than they are now. And so for me to balance, I have to figure out what's my priority right now. And at the time I think that I was like outside of the marriage, so in divorce, like newly divorced, and trying to figure out what is my priority. And so I think at the time my priority was my kids, and it wasn't even my business. My business couldn't be a priority at that time. I didn't even have me. And so sometimes we look at when we do our planning and we do our scheduling and everything, like you said, you got to make sure you're in tune with you got to make sure you're balanced.
Yes.
And so during that time, and I'm gonna come out of that too, y'all, because I don't want y'all to stay back then when I wrote the book, but even now doing self-care is the biggest priority I think for me right now in terms of balance. So guys, comment below and tell us like what do you do for self-care, because Torrie just said like she does her yoga, and you can see that on her social media pages too.
Yes. On my mental health page, Get in Motion, motivating others to take charge of nourishing themselves. We focus on financial literacy, mental health, and self-care. I do a lot of one-on-one with yoga, and just healing in general.
Yeah.
I created Get in Motion because I felt like I was going through a spiraling time, but I still had to motivate myself to get through everything, losing my job, just life period. So Get in Motion is what it says. Get in motion, pushing yourself through those difficult times when you feel like you can't do it, you're not gonna make it. You will make it. You just have to continue the motion, continue to, have that self-care, whether that's 30 minutes to yourself or going to the park or, reading a book, just taking your mind out of that space of feeling like you can't do it or you can't make it.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that I share with people when I tell them about like battling depression.
Mm-hmm.
People often ask, like, well, what did you do? How did you come out of that? I was diagnosed with chronic depression in, I think it was 2018, and I didn't know. I didn't know I was depressed. Apparently, my therapist, I had two therapists. One previously had known that I was depressed, but she said, well, you had too much going on. We couldn't get to it. So then the one I had currently at that time, she said, well, let's do it now then. Let's get to it now.
Mm-hmm.
And so something I share with people is one thing my aunt told me when I was little. She said, on your worst day, look your best, and that stuck with me because, on our worst day, we don't want to do anything. We don't want to, like, look my best for who and for what, But the older I got, I understood more, like, okay, pull you out of this, bring you back to self. And so I think that, for you guys listening to this, if you're having like mental health crisis or just bad days, what I call them are lifelines for me, because on the other side of depression, there is a maintenance period that you can go through in this cycle. And so maintenance is just where you work your lifelines pretty much. And my lifelines are like my hair. If my hair looks bad, y'all, I'm probably not good. If you see me and my hair look bad, and I'm probably not good. And it's my nails, and I mean, my nails are not polished or anything right now, but they're pretty and natural. Whereas if you saw my nails and they were horrible, or they just look like, oh, she needs to get her nails done or something, that was my lifeline. My lifeline was making sure I got my nails done and my hair done, then I could get through anything. So what, was yoga what you ran to get through everything? Like,
So yoga was what I ran to. I started doing research on how it helps you release trauma. And I have a lot of childhood trauma that I went through. And then as I became an adult, trying to work through those things became difficult for me. And so, yes, I ran to yoga. Certain positions, help release that trauma that we have built up in our bodies that a lot of people don't know is sitting in your body.
Yeah.
And when I started doing research on it and learning more and more about it, I started to heal myself. Yeah. But it wasn't an easy journey. I didn't know that it would bring out so much pain, so many memories, triggering memories. Mm-hmm. And I know when people think of healing, it's like, oh, okay, you healing, it's happy, but no, it was a lot. It was a lot for me. And yoga just helped me kind of escape it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, healing is like, you're going to feel the pain, and even if you were to like have surgery or something like that, they say after the surgery to correct whatever's wrong, or after the process of, correcting, or during, once you do the immediate process to correct whatever's wrong, you're going to feel more pain. Mm-hmm. And I've heard people say, this is the pain you want. This is the good pain, because this is the part of you feeling what you're feeling and pushing through it. You're healing through that. So, healing does hurt. I had to overcome childhood trauma as well. And I think for you all listening or watching, something to know is that trauma is like grief. And trauma and grief can both exist at the same time. And with that, you don't control when it affects you. You can't control when it comes up, when it comes out. So I always tell people, if it comes up, let it come out, and with this being, you have a voice and it needs to be heard. Where that place comes from, because I'm not sure I even shared this with you, but even for you all watching, with Tea Time with Tarah, where you have a voice and it needs to be heard comes from, is not having a voice in my childhood, not having a voice in my marriage, losing my identity in that situation. And so now I tell people, I'm like, that my throat was cut off, like, it's basically cut off. Like, you don't get to have a say so in your own life. And trauma and grief can do that to you. It can shut you up. And so if you suppress it, you just causing more and more sickness,
In your
in
body.
yourself
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And so I always tell people now, I say, listen, guys, if it comes up, let it come out. And people are like, oh my gosh, you're so blunt, and you're so transparent. How do you do that? And I'm just like, well, if it comes up, it needs to come out.
I prefer to be blunt or assertive.
Yeah.
I don't really like the beating around the bush, especially when it comes to like situations like your trauma.
Right.
I meet many women in the modeling scene who've experienced trauma, and it seems like they just gravitate to me and want to tell me their story, which I'm open for that. But I tell them, it's okay to speak on it because you've been taught to not say nothing or shh.
Yeah.
And I know what that feels like.
Right.
So we get emotion, pushing people, to nourish themselves, pushing people to take care of themselves mentally, physically, emotionally, really digging deep within themselves and finding out, okay, this is a trigger for me, but how do I attack this and get rid of it?
Yeah. And then also too with Tea Time with Tarah, I'm talking about Tea Time with Tarah, the community gatherings, okay? That's been going on for almost 7 years now. So you may not see me talk about those things on the show, but what I'm referring to is the community organization Tea Time with Tarah. And so even with that, and I forgot what I was going to say. Ain't that a mess? That's such a mess.
Mine going.
That's such a mess. It is. It's all over the place. So I forgot what I was going to say, y'all. But I will just move forward with that and just say with Tea Time with Tarah, that was the space to open up and the space to know that you're not alone as well, and so people need that, and I think with our birthdays, that's what makes it more, we're assertive. We're going to be the ones in place for people to come to us anyway, or whatever. So since I lost my train of thought, y'all, please excuse me. It's gone. It's gone. What other so let's with balancing everything, because you said we talked a little bit about getting emotion, balancing your body, and then so you were working through those things, overcoming those things, and then what came first, with
As far as what?
well, you with getting emotion, and with the catering.
Okay, so I've been working on Get in Motion for about 5 years now. It wasn't always Get in Motion. It didn't have a name. The name came to me in a dream. I originally wanted to do a program for delinquent kids.
Okay.
Because I have a brother that's incarcerated going through some things. And so I wanted a program that would help rehabilitate them and help them get in the field of actually learning learning a skill that would help them, reform and get out of that same cycle of being incarcerated. But then over time, I started dealing with my fibroid tumor. I got diagnosed with a couple years ago. And that kind of set me back from doing anything because I was in a lot of pain. So I wasn't able to walk in shows. I didn't really feel like being around people or going out because it was an uncomfortable feeling with the fibroid sitting so close to my uterus and my bladder. So it kind of had me sitting in the house, which led me to come up with everything for Get in Motion as far as mental healing, financial literacy, and self-care. I feel like those are 3 major things that we need to just function. And then I lost my job back when COVID hit.
Okay.
And that's when T's Treats came about. I was just doing like cakes, cookies, cheesecakes. And then I met a young woman who had kids, and she wanted to buy 3 plates. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable charging her for 3 plates when I can just make her a pan and this can save her and they can have this throughout the week.
Yeah.
And so I pitched that to her, and she was like, oh yeah, let's do that. And she she continued to shop with me for her and her kids, and she told me like, my kids love your food. And that's when I got into actually catering bigger parties. My first event was with Experience Savvy. It was a model showcase that I cooked and I also modeled in. And I was able to balance my fibroid by then. So I was able to be up and out without being moody because it definitely kept my hormones unbalanced. Then I started working on a nutritionist plan to eat because I had to cut out a lot of different things from my diet. one of the major things that was making the fibroid worse was red dye, which is
Oh
in a lot of
yeah.
things that we consume, from chips to candy to different pasta sauces. So I had to let go a lot of different things just to balance out my body, to keep going. And I told myself, like, if this is what you really want, you're gonna have to cut it off, or eventually you're gonna be on bed rest because of this. So yeah, that's when T's Treats came about. That's when the catering came about. I started getting motion, but it really wasn't as far as it is today. It was more so just on paper.
Okay.
And then that's when I had the dream to the name Get in Motion. And then I broke it down, motivating others to take charge of nourishing themselves, which is what I had to do. I had to get in motion. I had to figure out, okay, what I can and cannot eat in order to survive this body.
Yeah.
From there, I took, catering more serious. I took the needs of my body more serious, and it just took off. I was always modeling, but I had to put it on hold because of the fibroid. And then when I started learning more about the fibroid, I started meeting more women who also had that issue. And they wanted to remove it. They wanted to do all these type of surgeries. And I was just like, I'm not letting y'all cut on me. Like, and I don't have any kids, so I can't have that removed. And it was just a lot of emotions that I went through, that I had to find that balance, just to really maintain it, because being stressed and having a fibroid tumor, that can make things worse. Not eating healthy can make things worse. It's a list of things. So just finding that common ground between my business, my body, and my spirit was like the make of all of this put together. It literally kind of just like fell in place. And I tell people all the time, catering chose me, because for a while I was like, I love cooking, but I don't want to cook for other people. Like, people can be picky. But I said, you know what? It's clearly falling in my lap, so this is what I'm gonna do. And to have a fibroid tumor and have to change my meals daily, I wanted to reach out and help other people, find that balance, that healthy balance with meals, and also the meals taste good,
Right.
as well. So that's
Well, that's a lot.
it
Thank you
is.
for sharing.
Yes, it is a lot.
Thank you for sharing that. Because for people that y'all, I'm just talking to y'all today, okay? Because she's sharing, so I hope y'all listening. Chime in, comment below, and let us know, what part of her story you can relate to, and what may have touched you, or what you may even want more information about regarding her journey, as well. Okay, because she shared a lot right there. So, what would you like say to people that are dealing with a lot like that? Because what happened is you took pain and turned it into purpose, and then you grew a passion for that as well, in the midst of you going forward in that. So with Stalk Your Destiny, I help people in terms of those that come for the talk therapy, of turning their tragedies into triumph, and that's just through telling my story as well. So what would you say to them to just encourage somebody else?
That's a good question. I would say take your time, love on yourself, because this isn't an easy journey if you are dealing with a lot of things. It can be overwhelming, and some days can be stressful, but keep going. Keep going and be patient with yourself. A lot of times I wanted things to work at a certain pace and I wanted it done at a certain time, but it wasn't going to be at my time. It was always at God's time. So be patient with yourself, love on yourself, and know that you can't be good to others unless you're great to self.
Right. So y'all, it's funny. It's rare that I just don't have stuff to say. I'm just like, right, you heard what she said, or whatever. So, it let's move on from balance then. So we got balance. What other words stuck out to you on your journey that you needed to stalk your destiny?
Accountability.
Okay, so you was ready.
I was. I told you. I read it and I was like, man, I don't know what word I'm going to choose, but I chose balance because it reminded me of my yoga, and it reminded me of everything that I'm doing and really finding balance. But
Yeah.
accountability, because a lot of things that I was going through, I had to accept that this is my life. So if I wanted to change, I have to be in charge of that, which is also get in motion, motivating others to take charge. I have to be in charge of, you know, taking advantage of what I want and where I want to see myself at. I can't put that in nobody else's hands, and if I do, then it's on me if it flows and crashes.
Right. And so, accountability with Stalk Your Destiny, y'all, this came from when I started Stalk Your Destiny, it was Stalk Your Healing. Before I ever brought it to the world, it was Stalk Your Healing. And so the thing with Stalk Your Healing was me overcoming child sexual abuse and child SA. And so,
I've actually dealt with it. So
yeah. And so me working with that, being in my marriage, when I lost my identity, I was in group therapy for that. And so when I was in group therapy, they were like, how come you don't help people with this? How come you not, you should be leading us? And I'm like, lead y'all for what? I'm here for the same reason you
I'm
here.
triggered like you.
I'm trying to get help,
Right.
or whatever. But they saw something in me that I had forgot about myself. They saw my worth, I would say. And so at that time I had asked God at home, like, who am I? And that was the identity piece of Stalk Your Destiny. I was like, where am I in my life right now? And where am I going with this? Which was the direction piece of Stalk Your Destiny. And then the accountability piece was, how am I going to get there? So like, God, I see where I'm at right now. I see, what you have going on around me. I'm praying, I'm taking care of my kids, I'm being a wife, or whatever. But I'm not here. Like, I'm not present. So how do I get to me being present with me? And so with Stalk Your Healing, it was me helping other people to heal and overcome and all of those things. And I said, I don't want to, it was too heavy to deal with the pain that I knew I was going through, and then sitting in group therapy and listening to their pain as well. I was like, I can't deal with that. I would be crying every day, all day. And so I was like, okay, God, well, what can we do? What am I good at? And that's when I took actually mental health labels and turned them for the better, because people will label you, give you all these stigmas and attach things to you that they're like, that's not me. And so I've named my labels on this show before, but let's say OCD, right? I'm OCD and ADHD. Okay. So people are like, number one, oh, does that mean like you gonna try to control me? Absolutely not. It don't have nothing to do with you.
Right.
My OCD, my level of OCD has to do with unwanted thoughts. If I don't have answers to questions, I'm going to keep asking those questions, which makes me great at being a coach. Because if you don't know, I'm going to break something down for you all the way down to simplify it so that assists in your journey. So with my clients and stuff, that's what I break it down for them and say, okay, I'm going to ask you these questions to get forward, to go forward in that. And so holding me accountable during that time was saying, God, like, show me, where am I going with this and how I'm going to get there? That helping others helped me. Another with the ADHD, it was like, now people would say, well, how do you have 11 books, and you got planners and you do this and you do that. How do you do all that? And I'm like, that's the OCD and the ADHD working together. Like, I can start some things, leave them, come back to them. But the OCD says, you've got to finish this. And the ADHD says, I'm bored with this, So constantly picking up and putting things down, picking them up and putting them down, and then being held accountable as a coach, like with you being a leader, I'm gonna call you a leader because apparently you're leading, if people are coming to you and gravitating towards you, you're leading them in some type of way. What you're doing is a role model, and we don't really have that these days. We don't have people even saying the words role model, but in doing that, people are doing it because they want to learn, like, how do I get through this? How do I get over this?
And I was a bit afraid to like speak on my story because I don't like to feel like a victim. Like, I feel like I've made it this far. I fought through, certain things. I still go through things. I still, get triggered.
But you're human. That's life.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I'm saying, as far as like being a role model and like helping others through it, I had to work up to that myself, because I was just like, well, I got, like you said, I'm going through it just like y'all going through it. I'm here, trying to get healing as well. And I never wanted to be seen as a victim. Despite everything that I've been through, I'm strong and I know I'll get through it. And that's how I'm able to push others. That's why I tell people, don't tell me, you want me to be your accountability partner, because I'm going to get on your nerves. I'm going to make sure that I hold you to what you told me you want to do. And if it's something I can help and I can push you, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And I've learned as a coach I can only push you and remind you until you stop. Because when you stop, I'm not pulling you. You know, accountability doesn't say, and people make fun of me for this, y'all. People make fun of me because when they put like their reviews and things, they'll say, you know, she'll help you and she'll walk along the side of you, but she ain't gonna do it for you. You know, I'm not doing anything for you. I will be right there with you. I'll be right there with you, but I'm not doing anything for you because once you stop, I'm gonna stop right there with you. You know, and that may be a part of the accountability or the balance, you know, because sometimes you got to take a breath in your journey. You know, it's a lot. It could be a lot to handle. It could be a lot with two assertive people holding you accountable, you know. When you're not, you're probably in a passive state of mind, you know, and so that accountability piece, you have to figure out what works for you and then work that as well, because sometimes we lack accountability because we just don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't want to do it, you know? And so you mentioned the word, you know, triggers a couple times. And so I think what you guys have to figure out, or what people have to realize, is that when you have these triggers and things like that, you got to sit with it.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to, you know, self-identify, well, why does this affect me? Why do I feel this way? You know, why am I tripping off of this, if that? You know, because sometimes people are like, I don't even care. I don't care about none of this. I don't care about any of that. They got me messed up. And it's just like,
but you do care.
Some
you care. You care.
You either don't, something wrong there. You
know?
care.
Like,
or whatever.
I tell people that all the time. Don't say you can say you don't care, but it's going to affect you. It's going to sit with you. So until you sit with it and
make peace with it.
Yeah. It's going to be there on your shoulder or just sitting with you, period. And I had to sit with a lot of things. Yeah. And I find myself like crying about it. Just more so releasing it. And it actually, you know, helped me through this journey a lot because that accountability with self.
Yeah.
So.
And something with balance, y'all. Balance is in another one of my other books, and I thought I kind of crossed them in my mind when I was reading this one. I was thinking about the other book. There's a book I have called Permeate, and where balance is an acronym. And so the acronym of balance in that is believe. I'm going to try to remember it, y'all, so don't judge me if I don't remember it all. But believe, achieve, lead, attain, nurture, coach, and expand, I believe. And so even in that, if you're going to have balance, you know, check your belief system, check the accountability, what you want to attain. Are you nurturing yourself? Do you need a coach, you know, or are you getting coaching? Are you good at coaching? Is your coaching working for you, you know? And then are you expanding? Because Torrie mentioned like reading, yoga, doing her modeling and things. What are you running to in terms of expansion? You know, even in the time where she faced the hardship didn't stop her from working towards expansion. So even in that, guys, when you're going to balance, find your why. And I know a lot of people say that, like, oh, find your why, find your reason, even if it's just to have a good day. Be sure to find that, you know. And we didn't talk much about the Bible. We've been trying to figure out different scriptures to add to it. I cannot think of any right now. That doesn't mean I don't have them, y'all. But if you have any, if this made you think of any stories in the Bible, any scriptures or anything like that, be sure to comment those below, because right now I'm trying to get to them and it's not what I want to share. My mind is on other scripture that doesn't have anything to do with balance. And so with accountability as well, we know that God is a God of order. And so with God being a God of order, you do things in decency, you know. And so be sure that do things in excellence. And so be sure that when you do for yourself, when you're taking care of self so that you can present yourself to others and be of service to others as well, that you treat yourself with excellence. I think most times we try to treat other people with excellence, and we treat them like they're up here, and then we get to the background and we treat ourselves like we just all right, you know. And so be mindful of that. Be mindful of the treatment that you give yourself on your journey, And be mindful of how you treat other people as well, because the Bible does tell us to love others as we love ourselves. Love one another, and love as we love ourselves. And if you don't love yourself well, and I'm not talking about, y'all, I'm not talking about ego tripping and absorption and selfishness, but loving yourself well enough, to where you have an overflow of love to give out to others as well. That's something that's important too. And if you guys don't know that, if you don't know what it feels like to love yourself, or you don't think you're worthy of loving yourself, then get to know the God of the Bible, who does love you. Because one of the things that I hate in the world is that too many people are without love, and you don't know that God loves you, and you don't know that you matter. And so with balance and accountability, it's like we go through A, B, and C. And C is about taking a chance, taking a risk. And so take a chance on you. Take a risk on you, and trust God, or get to know God, so that you can know the love that He has for you, your worthiness, and the level that you can go out here into the world and be, in that as well. So, was there anything else you wanted to add to it or talk about with your journey?
Um, yeah.
Okay.
So I do have a casting call called Breaking the Silence of Colorism and Mental Healing. And I've been planning this for about a year now. It's more so to bring the Black and brown community together, because often I see just hatred among people and not loving themselves, like you were just speaking on. Growing up, I did deal with, being talked about as a darker skinned woman. And I always said, when I get older, I'm going to do something about it. So I'm excited to be putting on this production. I will be doing a mental health luncheon as well, to show off the colorism event that I'm putting together. And then I will be having a fashion show next year. So I'm
Okay.
excited to be putting those things together. I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and they're super excited because they haven't really seen anyone on scene talking about colorism, and just mental healing. I feel like I had to wear a guard stepping outside every day, just being in my skin. And one day I woke up and I told myself, you didn't wake up and just like choose which skin you're going to put on today. So you shouldn't have to wear a guard or be, fear that someone is going to hurt your feelings today. And from that day, I really just, continue to love myself, continue to pour into other Black women just like me. And I met so many women that was thinking the exact same way. So that was really an eye opener for me to, speak more and use my voice and my platforms for what, affected me as a child.
Yeah. And then, I mean, let's just put this out there, y'all. Black is beautiful. So,
It is.
if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Go to another video. Because black is beautiful, period. And I don't think it really matters what skin tone we are. Like it is what it is. Like, who doesn't want color in their life?
And it doesn't matter. And I feel like that's why I'm doing this, so people can see dark, light, brown, however you see yourself. We all face the same different things. It may come differently, but we all face the same things and are dealing with similar issues. And we don't know that until we actually speak on it and get in these rooms and help heal one another. So,
yeah. Well, your chocolate is beautiful.
Thank you.
So forget them.
Forget
them. Who does it? I mean, but chocolate is, we have dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, So
you will be surprised of the things that I've heard people say to me, okay?
I feel like people just find reasons to be hateful.
I agree.
They just look for it. Like, you took time today to think about that? Like, you took your time today to really dig that one up? Or my skin, that was the best you had today? But as a child, I do understand, y'all, we do not condone bullying at all. And so I can understand it. As a child, you don't know how to process that and where that goes. It's just like, why would you say that to me?
And it made me have a guard, but once I got older, I realized, okay, I don't want to have a guard towards people who have done nothing to me. But at the same time, I don't want to leave a door open for them to attack me.
Right.
So I had to find a balance with that as well. But that's the whole purpose of me putting this project on, so I can bring awareness to it. and stop it. I feel like it start at adolescence.
Yeah.
So, I hope to have my production plan in schools for other Black kids to see.
Awesome. And yeah, I think your event will be in October, right?
Yes.
The major event will be in October. And then for you guys who don't know, Mental Health Awareness Month is May, but mental health, I think it's National Mental Health Day is in October.
Yep.
As well. And also for those of you who may be dealing with child abuse, sexual assault, those awareness months are they're together in April as well. So it's for those of you who may want to support or learn more about those things, those are the months that they bring awareness to them as well.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I had anything else to say because this was pretty good and informational. I think people have a lot to think about just from you sharing your story. So thank you for sharing. Do we need to hit anything else though?
No, but I will leave you guys with my platforms.
Okay.
My mental health page is getinmotion.org. That's GETIN motion.org. And my model page is one and only Torrie. That's ONE and only TORRIE. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the show. All right, you guys. We'll be back next time with another episode of the Tea Time with Tarah show. Our guest today is Torrie Danielle, guys. All right, but until next time, remember you have a voice and it needs to be heard. And with Stalk Your Destiny, everything you want to become, you already are. For more information about me, the host, Tarah M. Williams, you can go to www.stalkyourdestiny.com and get on board with this stalker train. The only thing we stalk over here is our destiny, our purpose, and that's the thing that belongs to us. Anything else is not ours. Until next time.